happening, everyone?
So, guys, history time.
History time. We are going to be uncorking this Hirsh 1974.
Just for you guys.
Blue wax bottling.
Original bottling.
The original bottling. Mike, there was a book written about this particular bottle. We are mainly Scotch guys, and we've been in the hunt over 10 years for the best Scotches in the world, and feel like we've done a pretty good job hunting down those most legendary bottles. But we, in the last couple years, kind of put a little bit more attention to hunting down some of the most legendary bottles of bourbon.
Yep.
Wasn't there's a book written about this, what's the book called?
The best bourbon you'll never taste.
Exactly, and it's about this particular bottle.
Yeah.
And when you talk to bourbon connoisseurs, the people that were able, have been trying bourbon for 20 plus years, those guys are able to get the very best bourbons for not too much money. Back in the day, they were collecting and drinking bourbon before it was popular.
Yes,
and they got a chance to try it all. This gets mentioned quite a bit as the best bourbon, of all time by people. It's personal opinion, but you could just, you respect someone's opinion who's tried it all. Another one that gets mentioned quite a bit is 1950s, very, very old Fitzgerald bottlings. I'm sure anyone who's into bourbon is familiar with these kind of bottlings. This particular one is a 1955 12-year-old.
Yep.
And then another bottle that gets mentioned a lot because they were sourcing from Stitzel-Weller in the earlier times, the Michter's.
Back in 2012.
Yeah.
When it first came out.
This is a 2016 bottling of Michter's 20, and one of my favorite bourbons I've ever had. I'm not sure if there's Stitzel in there or not, but this gets mentioned as some of the best.
I doubt it.
Some of the best bourbons, Michter's 20. And even sometimes 25, they get mentioned.
For sure.
Old school Pappies kind of maybe get mentioned a little bit, but I think, when you're talking this guy right here, you're really talking the old school Pappy.
Yeah. Made by Pappy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
yes, sir.
This one being the latest edition in our journey of trying to find that perfect, most epic bourbon. This was not cheap. This goes for just over $5,000 at auction, so it's not a cheap bottle. There is the gold wax one as well. That one goes for $1,500 to $2,000 less.
Yes, and then also the gold foil, the cheapest one, which also came in a humidor
That's the
box.
one. Okay, yeah. That's the one I'm talking about.
There's the gold wax in the middle. And there's the gold foil.
And I think the gold foil actually goes for over $3,000 now too.
Yeah, so nothing's cheap.
Nothing's cheap.
But actually, I tried half an ounce, maybe a quarter ounce of the gold foil in Vegas, and that blew my fucking mind, which helped start this passion to really get into the Hirsh.
Yeah. You have anything else to add to this? We're hoping that this is going to be
an easy process.
An easy process, but already because this has been, when was this bottled?
91.
Yeah, these waxes tend to stick on.
Yeah, the wax would be an issue.
The wax sometimes is a little harder to take off when it's been on there for a while.
Sure. The only thing I'll say is kind of the connection. Obviously, you can check out the book by Chuck Cowdery, The Best Bourbon You'll Never Taste. But the connection between those three bottles you just saw, Michter's has 1753 on it. That goes back to the original Baumburger distillery, founded by the Shank brothers. You've probably seen Michter's products, Baumburgers and Shanks. It's a throwback to history. The Shank brothers, Mennonites, started distilling rye, Pennsylvania. Baumburger's distillery. Obviously changed hands. You got Lewis Foreman buying it, I believe, 1941. Named the first whiskey they produced, sour mash whiskey, after his sons, Michael and Peter. That's your Michter's. Came out in 1950. And then by, I'm not sure what year, by the 70s, you can look it up, Pinco Distillers bought that distillery from the Foremans, and Pinco is who made this Hirsh. Let A.H. Hirsh make this beautiful product. The biggest problem was, I forget the name, Adolphus, whatever, Hirsh. He wanted to age it. He couldn't sell any younger stuff. Basically went bankrupt aging the stocks. Then Price Imports, who has imported some of our favorite Springbank, especially the 12-year double darks. Price Imports outbid Stitzel Weller for the stocks of A.H. Hirsh. But Price Imports ended up hiring Julian Van Winkle, Pappy himself, to actually bottle Hirsh. So you got 1753, the original mark, what became Pinco Distillers, making the Hirsh, bottled by the legendary Pappy Julian Van Winkle. Crazy circular history bourbon is. Perfect. As you may know, Kentucky, 4 or 5 families basically invented, changed hands, Pretty much all the best bourbons
Left a little blue. I could have left more. I didn't realize it wouldn't rip in the beginning, but then as I loosened it up, it started ripping through.
Oh, nice little blue ring. You're good to go.
We got a little blue ring to.
But yeah, basically you can look it up, go as far back as you want, but it's almost like 6 degrees of separation. If you pick any 2 distilleries, there's probably some connection back in the day. There's a Prohibition, the big break, where they were interconnected or changed hands. It's kind of how American whiskey history is. Look at that fucking color, man.
How's this
Gorgeous.
work?
Gorgeous.
That still works.
And there's also, just filling in the story, there are also original bottlings, 19 Hirsh, same vintage, 74, and a 20 as well, that have a red, I think some red
Correct.
print on it label,
Correct.
maybe some red wax, which go for even more, obviously. But just curious, the 16, this is kind of the most legendary one, just curious about it.
So yeah, we're not gonna review this right now. This thing obviously we're gonna spend time with it, but we'll obviously review it eventually. I don't know if we mentioned it is bottled at 45.8% ABV. You know, this thing is really, really gonna need to breathe. We have extreme high expectations, but thought it would be cool to uncork it and just kind of, wow.
Oh, and last thing,
Dusty.
Pinco Distillers in Schaefferstown, Pennsylvania. Not a Kentucky bourbon. Pennsylvania bourbon.
Wow. Well, Mike, I'm not going to talk about this right now because if I start, I'm not going to stop.
Explosive.
Yeah,
bro.
this thing's going to be epic. I can already tell. I can't wait.
Woo!
Super excited.
Yeah, wow.
Probably the most excited I've ever been for a bourbon before. So yeah.
Yeah, like definitely label it like bourbon we've been dying to try the most.
Yeah.
Like, our whole journey most curious about. Big time.
Well, I mean, if we could pick one bourbon to try, I mean, maybe this would be it.
Yeah, and part of that is that the very old Fitzgeralds or the old Fitzgerald line, there's so many, right? There's 8-year, 10-year, 12-year, 15, 18, every vintage. Which one's the best? God knows.
Yes.
But this is almost like one of a kind.
Yes. Yeah.
1,000%.
So, more like a history lesson too. Doesn't have to be the best thing bourbon we've ever tried, but it's more like put it in the library of bourbon notes, right? We're not fully there with bourbon in terms of trying. We're not even close, like we are with Scotch.
No, and obviously, we've never tried pre-Prohibition bourbons, just post-Prohibition dusty bourbons. We have a lot more to go versus how we are with Scotch.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. If anyone has tried this, please let us know. Let us know what you think.
Please tell us. Yeah, any of the versions.
We're gonna spend the next hour just enjoying this right now, and then head outside with some drams and smoke some cigars a little bit.
Have some fun.
All right. Cheers, you guys.
Cheers.